Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Candice, and today we're going to be going into part 7 of our Modesty series. If you hear any funny little noises, my cats are playing around in the kitchen right now, so you might hear some bumps and things, but we're going to roll with it. So I did goof on the last Modesty video and call it part 7 when it wasn't. It was actually part 6, but I was like looking at my notes and got mixed up with the numbers. Today we're on part 7 of the Modesty series. We're talking about the effects of dressing like a lady, okay? But first, before we get into it, let's pray really quick, okay? God, I want to thank you for another day, and I praise you for making us in your image, like making me as a woman distinctly in your image. I love the fact that you give us the opportunity to express your image to other people the way you made us. I pray that you would bring anybody to this video who you would like to hear it and who you would love to bless through it. And I ask that you would allow the rest of us to have a beautiful week. And I ask these things in Jesus Christ's name. Alright, so today we're going to talk about the effects of dressing like a lady. So for me personally, when I was young, I didn't really dress like super feminine. I wore a lot of pants, plaids, stuff like that. And as I've gotten older, like my wardrobe has become distinctively, incredibly more feminine than it used to be. And I've noticed that there is a huge difference in the way people treat me when I'm out and about. Like the way they used to treat me when I was dressing the way I was versus dressing way more femininely now. So I want to go into that. But first, I want to give you a definition of what I deem it to be dressing like a lady, because that's kind of integral to you understanding what I'm talking about today. So for me, dressing like a lady, when I picture the word lady or calling somebody a lady, usually the women are dressed modestly. They are wearing a bit more fabric than the average day-to-day outfits. Okay, they are also dressing in a distinct way that it's obvious that they are a woman. Like, they're not wearing androgynous clothing or things that could be mistaken as masculine. Like, they are wearing distinctly feminine pieces, okay? And the third thing that I think really goes along with dressing like a lady is, like, when you look at this person, you can tell that she put in a bit more effort into her outfit than, say, a lot of the other people that are going out to the grocery store or wherever else, Like, it looks like she put in more effort, she's modest, and she obviously definitely is a woman, and you can tell from, like, across the grocery store that, yeah, that's a woman. That's what I'm talking about. Now, I personally dress femininely because I enjoy it, okay? I do not like dressing in masculine clothing or androgynous clothing. I prefer skirts and dresses because I just like them. And I'm not saying that skirts and dresses are the only feminine clothing out there. We're going to get to the spectrum of that in just a little bit. But for me personally, I enjoy looking like a woman, and this is why I do it. I've had people ask me, like, even when I'm out and about. The other day I had some random man who I didn't even know, probably in his 60s, and he looks at me because my hair was down. Usually I have my hair in like a braid or something else, but it was down, and so it's like down to my waist, and I was wearing a skirt because I wear skirts all the time. And he was like, "Are you apostolic?" And I'm like, "No." He's like, "Oh, I just thought so because of the long hair and the skirts, And for those of you who don't know what apostolic is, it's a kind of a sect of Christianity where the women are very strict about having long hair and not braiding it because, of the one Bible verse where it's talking about braided hair, which was kind of like the tradition of the prostitutes at the time. Anywho, and they usually wear super feminine, like, dresses and stuff like that. But, so a lot of people, like, will mistake me or ask me if it's, like, a specific super religious rule thing or something. And for me, it's not like a hard and fast rule, okay? Like, the verse that I go to is Deuteronomy chapter 22, verse 5. And this is the one where it says, "The woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man, neither shall a man put on a woman's garment, for all that do so are abomination unto the Lord thy God." So from this verse, I specifically know that God does not like women to express themselves as men. Like, I would not go into the men's section of the store and buy a sweatshirt. If I'm going to buy a sweatshirt, it would be in the women's section of the store, and vice versa for men. So now a lot of people take that verse to mean, oh, women should only wear skirts and dresses. Well, that's not what it's saying. And culturally speaking, everybody was wearing, kind of like toga-y type robes and things like that would all be considered dresses this day and age. I think the spirit of this verse is basically, not wearing something that is specifically made for a man, okay? Like, you're not going to wear men's jeans as opposed to, like, jeans that are made for women. You know what I'm saying? So, for me personally, this means that I avoid androgynous-looking clothes. Like, it's just not something that I'm attracted to, and, like, androgynous-looking clothes just kind of, I don't know, they seem kind of boring to me, but that's me. So for me, I tend to gravitate more towards super feminine things, okay? Now, femininity and feminine clothing does not automatically equate with skirts and dresses, although skirts and dresses do read as more feminine, okay? You can be wearing pants, and you can have a feminine top on and read as super feminine, okay? So I just wanted to make it clear that I am not just advocating for skirts and dresses here, though that is my particular preference, okay? Like I said, skirts read as more feminine, but you could also be wearing a pair of super nice slacks that are tailored to your body, and a feminine top and a trench coat or something like that, and you will still read as a really put together woman, a ladylike woman. Now, of course, with dressing like a lady, this also involves, your shoes, your hair, your accessories. Now, for me personally, I find that it is much easier to read as more feminine if your hair is longer as a woman. Because usually, let's face it, guys wear shorter hair. Usually, they never usually go past their shoulders, Some women like their hair shorter, and hey, that you do you. But it's more feminine. It looks more feminine if it's shoulder length or longer, So for me, mine's like almost to my waist. And that's my personal preference. But nobody is going to mistake me for a man when I'm outside. Where was I? Now, with like accessories and stuff like that, let's face it, men don't really wear a lot of accessories in our day and age. They'll have maybe a watch or something like that. They'll have their wallet with them or things to that effect. Or in the wintertime, maybe a scarf and gloves or a hat, okay? Women, we can really make ourselves more distinctly feminine by wearing, accessories. If I do wear jewelry, it's something simple. I don't go for like crazy statement pieces personally. You do scarves, hats, hair accessories is a big one that's super feminine. Like, men aren't wearing, clips and bows and random things in their hair. So it's something that you can do that will make you read as more feminine out and about. Now, that being said, I feel that there is definitely a spectrum of like modest feminine clothing. So on one side of the spectrum, you've got, modest feminine casual wear, like sweatpants, yoga pants, leggings, stuff like that, sweatshirts, really casual stuff, t-shirts. And then as you move towards the more feminine side, you're getting like pants and a nice top, stuff like that. Then you go like professional wear, casual dresses and skirts, and then like super feminine dresses and skirts or outfits that have, a lot of frills like lace and vibrant color and patterns and ruffles and a really nice feminine shape, stuff like that, So on the spectrum, over here, the very, very casual sweatpants and stuff like that, I never wear those outside of my home, personally. Okay, that's a personal decision. And I feel like you guys need to understand all of this to really understand, like, the reactions that I'm getting when I go outside. Okay, so hang in there. But I don't wear sweatpants unless I am inside of my home. And usually if I'm wearing sweatpants, I am either going to bed or feeling very, crummy. That's just me personally. I don't wear those out and about. Most of the time, I will roam over into the casual skirts and dresses and super feminine things. And that's where I probably spend about 95% of my wardrobe time is over here. Now, 5% is maybe like more towards the casual sweatpants, whatever. But most of my time is spent on the super feminine side of the spectrum. Now, I personally do not sit in the pants and nice top scenario because I don't own pants. That is not because I hate pants it's like not because I think that pants are masculine. It's just because I cannot find pants that fit properly. I am 5'11", and having pants that fit your waist, your hips, and like are long enough is like finding a unicorn in a field of ducks. Just doesn't work for me. So I just got rid of pants entirely because skirts are just way easier in general for me to find that fit and that are the way I want them to be. So like I said, 95% of my time is spent over here in like the super more feminine side of the spectrum, which is why when I go out and about now, the reactions that I get from people are so different because most women do not spend the vast majority of their time over here. Most women spend their time somewhere in the middle to this side, you know, but I'm one of the few that goes out in a skirt every single day. Like now in the wintertime, I'll be wearing leggings underneath that skirt, but I go out in skirts or dresses every day. It's just how I roll. So when I go out to places like Home Depot or the grocery store or, you know, out and about to work, things like that, like I get a bunch of different mixed reactions. But these reactions are like way more involved than the reactions I used to get when I was wearing, you know, things that were a lot less feminine, you know, or more on this side of the spectrum than on this side. So some of the typical reactions that I get when I go outside now are random comments, things like, why do you always wear skirts? Or, are you Amish? Are you apostolic? Those are recent ones. I'm like, no, I wear skirts because I like them, y'all. Now, you may get random comments like that. People, anything that's like outside of the norm, you're probably going to get a comment about it at some point. You know, so I take these comments in stride. I just be like, yeah, I really like skirts. Pants are a problem. I don't like them. And people just roll with it, you know. But then there's, you know, when I actually go to different places, there's specific interactions that happen. So like the local hardware store, I go to the hardware store in skirts because that's what I wear. And when I go in skirts, even in the middle of the summer, if it's just a casual skirt, if I'm going to the hardware store in skirts, the difference in the attention I get from men is very different. Okay, so when I went before in like pants or whatever else, nobody paid attention to me at all. I went in, got my mulch, got my bags of mulch, got my bags of dirt, walked out. That was it. Nobody paid me any attention. When I go in skirts, I get offers for men to be like, hey, do you need some help getting that on your cart? Because I get like, you know, the big old bags of mulch that are like 20 pounds pop. And men will offer to help me get my things. They will offer to help me put the things in my car if they see me in the parking lot, you know, lifting all these giant bags of mulch. They will go out of their way, even people who work there will go out of their way to assist and be like, hey, do you need any help? Stuff like that. Now, when I go just random places like the library or grocery stores and stuff like that, when I am dressed more feminine, you get more chivalry just from everybody, men and women alike. I mean, people are more likely to open a door for you if you are dressed femininely. I don't know why that is exactly, but it's a thing, okay? Like, people will open doors for you. People will make sure, you know, that if there's only one cart left, that they'll be nice and let you have it, you know, stuff like that. I find that my interactions with men are more respectful on their end, specifically. They have more respect for me because through my outfits, I am showing that I have respect for myself. I also get a lot of compliments from men and women alike. Women will be like, oh, that's a really nice skirt, you know? And men will be like, oh, you look really nice today. You know, stuff like that. I once had it where I was at the library and I get out of my car and I'm like on the opposite side of the parking lot, like parking lot over here, doors over here, right? I get out And I'm grabbing my bags, getting in. As I start walking to the library, I see this elderly man, and he's like about to go in the door himself, right? But then he turns and he sees me, and I'm like 3/4 of the way across the parking lot, right? But I'm in my skirt, dress, whatever I was wearing that day, and he waits there. And I'm like, okay, he must be waiting for somebody or something as I get closer, you know? And then I find out when I get all the way to the door that he waited for me to cross the entire parking lot just so he could open the door for me because I looked like a lady. And he was cute with like this little bow tie and stuff. It was adorable. But the thing is, I find that overall my interactions when I go out dressed more femininely are more positive, more affirming, more encouraging, and just all around better experiences than when I would go out, you know, wearing more masculine or more androgynous clothing, or even things that were just more modest. Like, you don't get the same level of respect and positivity in your actions when you're dressing more this way for some reason. Now, a definite way to kind of gauge where your wardrobe is on the femininity scale, if you don't, you know, particularly be like, oh, well, I'm kind of the maybe over here, I don't know, is to think about what kind of attention you're getting from men or from other people, just women in general too. What kind of attention are you getting when you go out? And what kind of men are you attracting when you go out? Is it the kind of man who, you know, is very kind of creepy and just looking at you because, you know, or is it more of men going out of their way to help you out or to be chivalrous and stuff like that? You know, it can kind of help you gauge where your wardrobe is at femininity-wise. Now, when we dress like a lady, we seem more approachable. We seem more put together. We seem more confident, which I know a lot of people are like, oh, but if you're, you know, dressed like a boss babe, then you seem more then people read you as more confident. But I find that when you're dressing in skirts and dresses when you go out, because it's not societally the norm, and like you stand out like a sore thumb when you're wearing a skirt and a dress out in public these days. But I find because it is that way, people read you as more confident in yourself and who you are. Of course, you're gonna look like you are more in touch with your femininity because you're wearing feminine attire. And my cat is trying to scale the wall. Anywho, when you look more like a lady, you look less like one of the guys. And let's face it, if you're looking like one of the guys, men are gonna treat you like one of the guys. And that means, you know, more of a competitive spirit, you know, more saying things that are inappropriate, you know, whatever else they got going on. But when you're dressing like a lady, you don't get those, you know, random crude jokes thrown your way as much, because they will treat you with more respect. Now, stop doing that. You are not Spider-Man. Anyway. Now when you dress like a lady, on the men's side of things, it makes them respond in a more chivalrous way than they would otherwise. It makes them respond in a more respectful way than they would otherwise. That men tend to step up and just be more manly and like offer to carry things for you and help you out with things. Or they'll be like, oh, do you need any help finding such and such, you know, at a store? They will be, of course, more attracted to you in a non-creepy way, because you are dressing more femininely, and that makes you more appealing because you are more of their opposite, you know, because men dressing manly, they want something that's the opposite of them. They want like a soft, feminine, delicate, you know, stuff like that is what they're attracted to. So they're going to be more attracted to you. And of course, because you're dressing femininely, because you're expressing your femininity in a healthy way, Christian men specifically are going to see you more as wife material. Because if you're modest and feminine, that's what they're looking for. But overall, like I said, the differences is it's just a more positive experience when you go out and you're like closer to the more feminine side of the spectrum. It's more positive, more respectful, and I just find that I have just better reactions with everybody when I go out. So that's all I wanted to say on that today. stick around for whatever video I throw out next. Bye guys.